Brittany. So, I'm not sure where, I'm not sure why it came out like that. So anyway, today is gonna be a movie review, and today I'll be reviewing Scream 4, directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, starring um, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell, Rory Culkin, Hayden Panettiere, and Emma Roberts. And with this story of Scream 4, it takes place where Sydney Prescott, she had just returned to her hometown of Woodsboro, and it's the 15th anniversary of the Woodsboro killing spree. Um, back to the original, to the first. And so when she comes back, it's happening again, where these teens are being killed off by Ghostface. So it's starting again. And this story takes on a new take with social media and with internet fame. And so I would say that was quite interesting, and I know when this movie came out that I think maybe because of that, I think not a lot of people like that. And even though I can understand why, but I do think Scream 4 was ahead of its time with using the concept of social media and internet fame within the movie of this story. So it was just a different take on that. But then, so yeah, later on, we see that even in this movie, Gail and Dewey are married, but and even though we love seeing that these characters have finally got together and they're married, but with Gail, she's having writer's block, so I think she's planning on to write another book, but she doesn't know about what, so she doesn't have any other ideas on what to write about. And with Sydney, when she does come back to Woodsboro, she had actually just finished that she actually did write a book herself about, I think, about her life, her experiences of what she went through. And I think she just came back from a book tour, so she, came back to her hometown, to Woodsboro. But I think that was one of the tourist stops, and that was there. I think that's what it was. So, and yeah, of course, her publicist is, I mean, we can see she's like a okay character, but she's not as nice as she may seem. But and then with Emma Roberts, we see that she plays Sydney's cousin, Jill, and that she is, of course, going to Woodsboro High, and her best friend is Kirby, played by Hayden Panettiere, and I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, forgive me. So, Kirby, I love Kirby. She's like this combination of like Sydney a bit, but also like also of Randy too and Tatum. So I would say she's like a combination, a bit of Randy and Tatum. So I just love that. and and then with Rory Culkin, he plays Charlie, who's friends with Jill, but I think he's also friends with what was his name again? I'm trying to think. He's the character where he's kind of like Randy in a way. what was his name again? I'm sorry, I'm having a block here. Hey, now let me think here for a moment. Oh yeah, that's right, Robbie. So I think Robbie is kind of like this uh similar version to Randy in a way. Um, in a way, and with these new characters, it's just quite interesting to see, and so we get to know them just a little bit, and from what we can see, what is similar but different is that Jill and Trevor, that they actually were boyfriend and girlfriend, but they had broken up. So, and of course we don't know why at first, but of course we can assume why to maybe why they had broken up, and um, so yeah, there's just a lot of things that seem a bit similar um, to the first, and so when because I think Sydney, I think it had been a long time since she had seen Jill, and so she doesn't know her cousin that well, but then as we see later on, that things start to get worse, and there's some things where we might assume like, okay, we think this might be going on, but we're not sure. And of course there's Ghostface again, and we don't know who is Ghostface, and also um that Dewey, he's actually sheriff in this movie, and there are two deputies. um yeah, so forgive me for forgetting their names, but yes. So yeah, it's nice to see for once that Dewey is sheriff in this movie, and in this movie they're pretty much talking about remakes, and they're just saying about the new rules, of a remake, and that in a remake that, and I don't know if this is completely true or something they just made up in Scream 4, but they said for you to survive in the remake, that you would have to be gay. But I don't know if that is true, because I've seen some remakes, horror remakes, and I don't think I've ever seen that where the character would have to say something, and let's say even if it's a lie, but they have to say something just so that way they won't be killed off, just to survive. That I don't know if that's true. But maybe that was just something they put in for Scream 4 itself. So maybe. And I think someone mentioned this in the movie. I think someone mentioned that whether the character is a virgin or not, that even they can still be killed off regardless, um, if they are or not. And well, because of course, one of the rules in a horror movie is not to have sex, because if you do, then you get killed off. And the reason for that, I don't know, but yeah, it's likely known that for those characters who are a virgin, that they don't get killed off. They pretty much survive. But in this case, it's like, what if you, even if you're not, or even if you are, you still get killed off, regardless of that. And that's just like, that's new. But I'm like, wait, what? And that's just something that I even at first I was like, wait, why? Because, and even as they're explaining the rules of the remake, um, it's, those rules do not make sense to me. whatsoever. Like the rules to what they mentioned, like what Randy mentioned in the first one, make sense. The rules in Scream 2 make sense. And even Scream 3. But the rules of the remake they mentioned in Scream 4 just, I don't know, do not make sense. I mean, maybe a little bit to some things, but not completely. So yeah. And so, of course, we can see that these killings, ghost-based killings, are happening again. And so, it does look like with Jill, it looks like it's going with a little similar kind of mirroring something that Sydney went through 15 years ago. And I think Sydney, she sees that. And at some point, when she did, um, at some point she thought, wow, like Jill kind of reminds me in a way. And, you know, but it wasn't until later that, of course, at some point that when things are going in this different direction, then yeah, then there was a surprise though at the end. So I just want to say, because I won't go over the whole movie here, I won't. Just saying that. So I'm so sorry. My throat's a little dry. Okay. So I gotta say, with the story here, Scream 4, I would say it is good. Although I would say that I think there's just some things I would probably change a bit. I mean, just a bit. But I do think, yeah, I do think that the story of Scream 4 was good, and I do think that it played out well, and I think this is one of the Scream movies I think is just a bit underrated, and it doesn't get enough credit for being ahead of its time of them using the concept of social media and internet fame. So I think they did quite well with that, because I would not have expected that. And when it was released in theaters on April 15th, 2011. So yeah, that's I would say they did a good job with that. And yes, I think there are just some things I probably would change. Like, I mean, I'm not sure exactly, but maybe just some things here and there. But other than that, I still like the story of how it was written for Scream 4. And even, and I love the cast. I do. And I just love seeing, the original cast where they come back to play their characters, and it's always just so great, to see them again. And then, of course, with, I would say with Rory Culkin as Charlie, I would say he did a good job with that role, because at first you think he's this quiet, shy guy, but turns out he's not what he seems, and he's also the killer. He turns out to be one of the Ghostface killers. So it's like, and that's something I did somehow suspected him, because with him being kind of quiet and him not really showing any emotion and pretty much having this, you know, look. I don't know how to describe it, but to me it just seemed like, okay, I don't know what to really think of him. I don't know if I can really trust his character, and turns out, yep, can't be trusted. And then Emma Roberts as Jill Roberts, Sydney's cousin. You know, I mean, I will admit, at first it did seem like, okay, maybe she's gonna be this very likable character, just like Sydney, and if she's going through the same things that Sydney went through 15 years ago, then, it's almost like the kind of character you think, okay, we should, that not only does she seem likable and she's going through the same thing her cousin went through, so it's like, it's almost like you want to root for her, but then at the same time, I would say there's some things where she probably did or said where it's like, wait, why did she do that? Because, yeah, at first she did seem like this likable character, like Sydney. But then, yeah, I will admit there are some things where she probably had a certain look, or she probably said something. I'm like, wait, why? Why did she do that? Or, why did she have that look? Or why did she said that? So, yeah, it turns out she, of course, was also one of the Ghostface killers. And the thing is, she had planned this. She had planned this because she wanted to get her 15 minutes of fame, only because later on in the movie, she has told Sydney to her face, saying that the one thing she has heard about all her life growing up was her cousin Sydney, and that everyone was pretty much talking about her, and she got quite jealous of her, and she thought, well, I want that, I want that kind of attention where everyone's just talking about me. And but of course she went out about it, the wrong way, and of course I think she completely lost her mind, thinking, well, maybe for me to get this attention that I want is, to do what she had planned to do. So, but the thing is, even though Charlie was helping her to do that, the thing is, she had, even though he was helping her, at the same time, she was making it look like that he was helping Trevor, and to frame Trevor for the killings, and to make it look like they were doing it while she's the innocent one. And that to me right there is like, okay, wow, you have really completely lost your mind. So I would say she did a good job on that, making it look like, oh yeah, she's this, likable character, she's innocent, like, and whoever's after her, it's the same thing that, of what happened, to Sydney in the first one, but nope, she is not what she seems, and she is just a complete psycho, if I might say so. And with Hayden Panettiere as Kirby, she really did a good job with a character like this mixed combination of both Randy and Tatum. I just love that combination with her character, and I just really love her character. So, and honestly, I would say she's more likable than Jill appears to be, because we know now, like, okay, she may have looked innocent even though she wasn't, because she was in on this, and I'm not sure if she actually have killed anyone. I think maybe there were some that did, but I think it was Charlie that did most of her dirty work. I think so. But yes, I like the story of how it went, although there might be a few things I probably would have changed, and I do love the cast, and I love their performances, and of course with David Arquette, Courtney Cox, and Neve Campbell, I love their performances, and I love when they play these characters because it's just like this very familiar feeling, and we're just like so happy to see them. And then of course, if any of them gets into trouble, or if it looks like they're getting close um, to maybe being killed off, then yeah, then we get scared and we're like, no, please, don't kill them off. And yeah, I get that. I understand that feeling. Uh, I do. And not just with the Scream movies, but with any movie, like whether it's horror, thriller, drama, or, any movie at all. I feel like there are just some movies where if I really like a character, it's like I would not want that character to be killed off. Like, no matter what the reason may be, no matter to what might cause for that character to be killed off, whether if it was either because they had to be killed off or for whatever reason, I just wouldn't want that. But then when it does, I'm just like shocked but sad at the same time. I'm like, oh man, like I wasn't expecting that. I was not hoping for that. I keep thinking, I hope this doesn't happen. I do not want it to happen. But then when it does, then you're left not only feeling shocked and sad, but you're also left feeling disappointed too. And that's not a good feeling. It's not, it's really not. And so, yeah, I would say the reveal of Ghostface, I would say it did came as a surprise, but at the same time, I suspected it. Because with Charlie, the way he revealed himself, even though I was surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't too surprised because I had a feeling it was him. But I was surprised the way he stabbed Kirby like that and pretty much dropped her on the ground when she was still moving and bleeding. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, because even after that, that's when a lot of fans were saying, "Oh, Kirby might be still alive because the last time we saw her, she wasn't laying still. She was still moving and she was bleeding." And I saw that too. So even for a long time, I kept thinking, "No, I don't believe she is dead. Because if she was, we would have saw her just lay there completely still, and she would have not been moving." When she was bleeding. So that's, for a long time I believed that. And then when they had finally brought her back, and then she, of course, in Scream 6, later explained to what happened, that she did die for I think 8 minutes, but then I think she, came back, but she did survive. So that I'm so happy with. I am. I'm really happy with that. So I'm glad at least we got to see her come back in Scream 6. But I hope we'll get to see her in Scream 7. But if she does come back in Scream 7, they better not kill her off, because then I will not stand for that. I won't. So, but anyway, because yeah, even after that, we don't see Kirby after that. We don't see, we don't just like see her after that. But anyway, to try to make this, to try to, end this review here as much as I can. But yes, I do like the story and the concept that they use of social media and internet fame, and how they decided to use, like, with these new characters of Charlie being one of the Ghostface killers, and Emma Roberts, who played, Jill Roberts, Sydney's cousin, who's also one of the Ghostface killers, which I would say that was also surprise, but at the same time, I just didn't had a good feeling about her. But I would say the reveal of the Ghostfaces were good, and I did like, I did like how it was had some scary elements here and there, and even the tension as well. And I even liked, how it ended though. And of course, I love the cast, I love their performances, and I love the music. The music composed by Marco Beltrami, and it's just great. And yes, this is also one of my favorite Scream movies, and because I love all of them. And so this is one of those movies where I will watch again and again. And then, of course, there's Roger L. Jackson, who's the voice of Ghostface, and with him being the voice of Ghostface is just so perfect because it's very menacing, but also very intimidating, and very it's just very scary too. Where with the moment you hear it, you're feeling terrified, and so he does a great job with the voice of Ghostface every time. So that's my review on Scream 4. So to rate it, I would actually give it a B. Um, I would give it I would say maybe 6.7 out of 10. Um, let's see. I would also give it like maybe 60% and 3 stars. So that's my review and rating on Scream 4. And so yeah, this is just quite interesting, a different take on this story for the movie, and yeah, it's just also quite entertaining to watch as well. And if you love Scream 4, let me know. And for more movie content like this, please subscribe and you'll be notified when I upload. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.